So very good morning. Last Sunday we discussed about the color therapy, and today we are going to discuss about the therapeutic use of water, right? So nowadays you know that there are many therapies which come under this. They are called as hydrotherapy. This is used for arthritis rehabilitation, used for paralysis rehabilitation. We use water regularly. For example, if there is any kind of fever, we give cold compress. If there is any kind of pain, arthritis, we use ice packs as well as hot compress. So, what is the importance of this kind of therapy that we should understand? First thing is, this is not a standalone treatment. Again, like color therapy, this is not a standalone treatment. It has to be a complementary treatment. So whatever treatment you are taking for your ailments, diseases, along with that, you can take this treatment also, and it will be very effective. See, today the rain in Mumbai have delayed. After a long time, the rain has started, and each one of us, irrespective of the age, sex, and many other factors that differentiate us from each other, each one of us is very happy. Now, why this feeling of happiness comes? If you look at the world or the globe, 70% of it is water. Similar condition is it with our body. Our body consists of 70% of water, more than 70% almost. So water has a very important effect on our health. It is an important element in our health. And only the touch of the water can also rejuvenate us. So the culture of taking bath is very old. Since ages, in every civilization, taking bath is having some importance. If we see that every culture has an importance of bath, and we take bath, and in the morning when we take bath we feel rejuvenated. So touch of water can give you a rejuvenating feeling. So definitely it has therapeutic effect. Now water is most valuable therapeutic agent. In all civilization, I told you that bathing was considered important measure for maintenance of health. If you see animals also, whenever they go to drink water in forest, they take a bath. Why they take? Because they know the importance of taking bath, getting in touch of water. How the touch of water has a therapeutic effect, has a healing effect. Now, what are the benefits of water on human beings? Means therapeutic baths. The following are the importance. First is it aids nutrition and digestion. So nutrition and digestion is improved. It improves circulation, boosts muscular tone. So your muscular tone improves if you regularly take therapeutic bath. Increases activity of the sweat gland. Now, whenever we take a bath, hot bath, what happens? We start perspiring. So sweat glands which are inactive become more active. And sweat glands are an important means of excretion of toxins from the body. So when the sweat glands gets activated, the toxins from our body are eliminated. Thus, health is restored. Improves excretion. That is what I told you. By increasing the activity of sweat gland, it improves excretion, and also the excretion by the means of the excretion. that is the stools which we pass. The constipation is relieved. So these are the important beneficial effects of therapeutic bath. Now I told you that each one of us is happy irrespective of the age, gender, because it started raining. Now there is plenty of water. Now there is plenty of water, but still we feel that the rain is such a factor that gives you happiness. जब बारिश गिरता है तो हमको बहुत आनंद होता है. वैसे तो समुद्र में बहुत पानी है, पर बारिश गिरता है तभी होता है. क्यों? Because it goes through a process of purification. Like there is a process of distillation. The same process takes place in the nature, and when it starts raining, you will feel that happiness. The same is the feature that happens when you start applying naturopathy in your daily life. The purification starts, the detoxification starts, and the change takes place at the cellular level. So the energy that you dissipate is completely different. The people can feel that this person is something different. He is doing something different. When you exercise regularly, when you meditate regularly, when you eat mindfully, the entire life changes. Not only in the aspect of health, but overall, you start getting success in whatever you are doing. You start seeing the world in a different perspective. So this is the greatness of naturopathy. So when you start naturopathy, you should understand various aspects, and then there are color therapy, there is diet, there is detoxification, and all those things. And apart from that, there is these therapeutic baths, which are very important. Now, therapeutic bath is of three types. There are three types. First is cold bath, second is neutral, and third is hot bath. Right? So, what is cold bath? When the water is from 10 degrees to 18 degree, it is called as cold bath. When the water which we use is of 32 to 36 degrees, it is called as neutral bath. And when it is from 40 to 45 degrees, it is called as hot bath. Now, above 45 degrees, the water loses its therapeutic value. It becomes destructive. It has a destructive effect on the human being or the human body. So, there are only three types of bath: cold, neutral, and hot. And above 45 degrees, the water has no therapeutic value. Now, the first important benefit of this is taking enema. Now, if we take hot water enema, what are the benefits? And if we take cold water enema, what are the benefits? Now, enema, as you know, we administer plain water through the anus or the rectum into the system. Now, this can be hot. As I told you, the temperature of hot bath is 40 to 45 degrees. So water should be around 40 degrees. You should measure it by thermometer. Monitoring is very important. Don't go beyond 40. 40 is enough. So hot bath is of 40 and cold bath is of almost 10 degrees to 18 degrees. Now what we do is we introduce plain water through the anal opening. And how much water? It is around 1.5 to 2 liters. The patient can retain the water for 5 to 10 minutes and then the water will start coming out, right? So when it comes out, it brings the accumulated waste in the rectum outside. So the first thing it does is it cleanses the rectum and the accumulated waste out. So this is the first benefit of hot water enema. Second benefit is it relieves constipation by improving peristalsis. So when the water is introduced inside, the peristalsis means the wave that is generated in the intestine, right? So it starts, the peristalsis improves, it increases, and hence it relieves the constipation. Third is hemorrhoids. What do you mean by hemorrhoids? In common language, it is called as piles. These are engorgement of the rectum and anus veins, right? So in hemorrhoids, hot water enema can give you benefit. Now cold water enema. Now cold water, I told that the water should be of 10 to 18 degrees Celsius. Same is the procedure. 1.5 to 2 liters is introduced through the anal opening. It can be retained for 5 to 10 minutes and then it will start coming out. It will flush the waste. And when is it effective? When to give cold water enema? So cold water enema is effective in inflammatory conditions of the lower part of the body. So lower part of the body में कोई भी inflammatory condition हो, inflammatory मतलब pain देने वाला, heat, redness, ये सारे जो करते हैं, these features are called as inflammatory condition, and in that you can use cold water enema. Ulcerative colitis. Ulcerative colitis is a condition of the abdomen, intestine, when there are chronic inflammation of the intestine. Then hemorrhoids, again piles, fever, dysmenorrhea. So then there is painful menses, you can use it. Leukorrhea, white discharge, right? In all these conditions, cold water enema will give you benefit. Now hemorrhoids are there at both sides. Why is that? Sometimes the hemorrhoids is just enlargement of the veins due to congestion, and sometimes the hemorrhoids has an inflammatory condition. We call this phlebitis. There is inflammation of the veins. If there is inflammation of the veins, then the hemorrhoids need to be treated by cold water enema. And if only there is engorgement of the vein due to congestion and there is no sign of inflammation, in such case, the hemorrhoids are treated by hot water enema. So in hemorrhoids, both type of enemas can be effective. You should diagnose. And also you will see that some patients feel better by cold enema. Also some patients will feel better by hot enema. So sometimes when you give hot enema, the patient says that my hemorrhoid condition has been aggravated. I cannot bear heat. In such case, cold water is indicated. So you should check from patient to patient. It is going to differ. The need is going to differ. Now, after enema, how can we use water as compress? Compress is very simple. जब भी बुखार आता है तो हम क्या करते हैं, पानी में एक कपड़े को गीला करते हैं और सर के ऊपर, माथे के ऊपर रख देते हैं, so that the head remains cold and the patient will not suffer from the complications of the fever like epilepsy. So this is what we do. So there are various kinds of compresses. First is cold compress. Cold compress मतलब पानी जो होता है वो 10 से 18 डिग्री के बीच में होता है और उसको हम यूज करते हैं. Now this is used in controlling conditions like liver, spleen and kidney inflammation. तो सिर्फ बुखार में हम लोग जो यूज कर रहे हैं, that we can use in inflammatory conditions of liver, inflammatory condition of spleen, inflammatory condition of kidney. तो ये सारे जगह जहां जहां inflammation है, अगर कोई physician कहता है कि now your kidney is inflamed, your liver is inflamed, so in such condition you can use cold compress along with the treatment. It will give you speedy recovery. Useful in fever and heart diseases. As I told you, everyone knows its importance in fever. In heart diseases also you can use cold compress. करना क्या है, लिवर, स्प्लीन, किडनी, उसका जो पोजीशन है एनाटॉमिकल वो मार्क करना है और वहां पे कोल्ड कॉम्प्रेस रखना है आपको, बस इसके ऊपर कुछ नहीं करना है. दिस इज डन फ्रॉम 10 to 30 minutes एज पर द नीड. और जैसे जैसे पानी गर्म हो जाए, जो कपड़ा होता है वो गर्म हो जाता है, नॉर्मल टेम्परेचर को आता है, यू चेंज इट. सो द टेम्परेचर इज मेंटेन्ड फ्रॉम 10 to 18 degrees. अर्टिकेरिया एंड डर्मेटाइटिस, पित्त उठणं ज्याला आपण म्हणतो अंगावरती, इट इज कॉल्ड एज अर्टिकेरिया. रेडनेस हो जाता है, अचानक से आ जाता है. दिस इज एन एलर्जिक कंडीशन. In this also cold compress is very important and helpful. Dermatitis. Dermatitis is the layer of the skin gets inflamed. It is called as dermatitis. So there is inflammation here. In this case also, it is helpful. Now, heating compress. Now, what is heating compress? So, heating compress जो होता है, वो it is not hot water. First, understand the name is heating compress, but it is not hot water that we use. We use cold water only. Cold water is used. A linen is soaked in the cold water. कपड़े को ठंडे पानी में गीला करते हैं. फिर उसको हम लोग, if patient is suffering from tonsillitis, we keep it on the throat and then we cover it with a dry cloth. ड्राई क्लॉथ से इस तरह से कवर करते हैं कि देयर इज, जो पानी जो एयर होता है, द एयर डजंट पास थ्रू इट. So in such condition, what happens? The flow of the air is obstructed, and because the flow of the air is obstructed, it gives a heating effect. So hence it is called as heating compress. Now it is kept for several hours. It can like cold compress, जैसे हमने कहा कि 10 to 30 minutes तक रखते हैं, तो heating compress ऐसे नहीं होता है. Heating compress can be kept for several hours. It can be kept for 6 hours, 7 hours. तो उसको कॉम्प्रेस मतलब क्या करना है, लेनिन को गीला करना है ठंडे पानी में, उसको उस पार्ट के ऊपर लगाना है, देन कवर इट अप विद अ ब्लैंकेट और अ ड्राई क्लोथ, एंड एयर शुड नॉट पास. द एंट्री ऑफ द एयर इज ऑब्स्ट्रक्टेड, and in such way it gives you a heating effect. Now, when is it effective? In which condition, which clinical condition it is effective? It is effective in relieving tonsillitis. Tonsillitis is, everyone knows, there are glands in the mouth. So they are called as tonsil, and when there is inflammation of it, it is called as tonsillitis. Then pharyngitis. The opening of the mouth goes into two. One is pharynx and second is larynx. The larynx ends into the trachea and pharynx ends into the esophagus. So pharyngitis and laryngitis, ये दोनों के इन्फ्लेमेशन में हम लोग इसको यूज कर सकते हैं. गैस्ट्राइटिस मतलब पेट का तकलीफ होना, इसमें यूज कर सकते हैं. यू कैन यूज इट इन हाइपर एसिडिटी, जॉन्डिस, ब्रोंकाइटिस, प्लूरसी, pneumonia. In such conditions, these are used as a complementary treatment, not as a standalone treatment. So it will aid the cure. It is not going to start cure, or it is not going to give you effect when you take it as a standalone treatment. It will aid the cure and give you quick relief. Especially when you speak about pleurisy and pneumonia. In such conditions, तो इसको standalone treatment try ही नहीं करना है. There has to be a medical guidance for it, advice for it. Now we will move to the next part. Now next part is hip baths. Now what are hip baths? तो पानी टब बाथ जैसे लेते हैं, उसी तरह से एक बड़ा टब रहता है, and in that tub the water is there and you can sit into it, and the water comes up to the navel, to up till the umbilicus. तो इतना पार्ट सोक करके हमको पानी में बैठना है. This is called as hip bath. Now what is the importance of hip bath? So there are three type of hip baths. One is cold, second is hot, and third is neutral. So as I told you, you can see in the chart, the temperature of water should be in cold 10 to 18 degrees, in hot 40 to 45 degrees, and in neutral 32 to 36 degrees. Now when is it effective? इसका effect कभी-कभी होता है. So first is hip bath, which is taken for 10 to 30 minutes. तो इसका टाइमिंग क्या होता है? 10 से 30 मिनट तक. Now it is useful in, cold baths are useful in constipation. It is useful in obesity. It is useful in uterine problems. Uterus से related कोई भी condition होगी, so in that you can do cold baths. PID. Now full form of PID is pelvic inflammatory disease. So pelvic inflammatory disease is any organ in the pelvis. Pelvis region में जो भी organ है, इनके जो inflammation होते हैं, इसमें हम लोग cold baths को use कर सकते हैं. Now the last is prostate gland inflammation. Now just enlargement is not inflammation. If there is inflammation of the prostate gland, then the cold bath will help. Second is hot bath. hot hip bath. So this is the water is from 40 degrees to 45 degrees, but I basically recommend any temperature which is above the body temperature. So 37 degrees के ऊपर जो है वो सारे hot है थे, and we generally give 40 degrees. We don't extend to 45 degrees, but they say that till 45 degrees it is okay. Above 45 degrees you should not take a hot bath. Now, when this is useful in painful menses. When the menses are painful. Now, painful menses hai, so you can we take the bath during the menses? No. All baths are contraindicated during menstrual phase. If a person is suffering, if a patient is suffering from painful menses, so after the menses, you should start taking hot bath so that the next menses you will not next menses will not be painful. But during the menstrual bleeding phase of the menstruation, you should not take any kind of bath. Again, there is pelvic inflammatory disease. I told you that some patients get aggravated by cold baths. In such patient, you can, if there is pelvic inflammatory disease and they feel aggravation by cold bath, then you can take hot bath. Enlarged prostate. If the prostate is just enlarged and there is no sign of inflammation, in such cases, hot baths will help, along with medication, of course. Sciatica spondylitis, which is the most common thing that we see nowadays because of wrong posture, because of exercise, sedentary lifestyle, lack of exercise. So sciatica and spondylitis, hot baths will help. Ovarian neuralgia. What is this? The pain that is triggered from the ovary. There is the ovary has a rich nerve supply, and sometimes these nerves are irritated and they dissipate pain. So this is called as ovarian neuralgia. So these patients may have painful menstruation. They may feel excessive pain during menses, or they may feel excessive pain just before the menses or 5 to 6 days before menses. This is triggered. So in ovarian neuralgia, in the patients of ovarian neuralgia, you can also take hot bath. Then neutral baths. When to take neutral bath? Again, neutral baths can be taken in inflammatory conditions of bladder, uterus, ovaries and reproductive system. So entire reproductive system में कहीं पे भी inflammation हो तो हम लोग ये use कर सकते हैं. Now there is one thing missing in this, that is alternate hip bath. Now this is very important. What we regularly recommend is alternate hip bath. क्योंकि ये ऐसे अगर हम देखेंगे कि कोल्ड में क्या है, हॉट में क्या क्या है, न्यूट्रल में क्या क्या है, फिर पेशेंट की कंडीशन क्या है, फिर उसमें देखोगे तो कुछ कुछ कंडीशंस में ऐसे दिया है कि कोल्ड बाथ भी दिया है, हॉट बाथ भी दिया है. जैसे अभी ये देखो माइनर डिफरेंस है, प्रोस्टेट ग्लैंड इन्फ्लेमेशन एंड एनलार्ज प्रोस्टेट ग्लैंड. इसमें हम क्या करेंगे, नहीं समझ में आता है. पेल्विक इन्फ्लेमेटरी डिसीज कोल्ड में दिया गया है और न्यूट्रल में दिया है इन्फ्लेमेटरी कंडीशन ऑफ ब्लैडर एंड यूटरस. यूटरस इज ऑल्सो अ पेल्विक ऑर्गन. तो हम लोग न्यूट्रल बात दे, हॉट बात दे, कोल्ड बात दे, कौन से बात देना है. सो बेसिकली वी यूज अल्टरनेट हिप बाथ. अल्टरनेट हिप बाथ गिव्स लॉट ऑफ रिलीफ. कोल्ड टब होता है और हॉट टब होता है. तो एक टब में कोल्ड वाटर होता है, एक में हॉट होता है. पेशेंट को क्या करते हैं, कहते हैं हम पहले कोल्ड बाथ लीजिए 5 मिनट्स, फिर उठना है, फिर हॉट टब में बैठना है, फिर वहां पे 5 मिनट्स, ऐसे करते जाना है फॉर 30 मिनट्स. सो वी गेट बेनिफिट्स ऑफ बोथ कोल्ड एज वेल एज हॉट. और वो जो चेंज होता है टेम्परेचर का कॉन्स्टेंटली, दिस पर्टिकुलर चेंज ट्रिगर्स द हीलिंग सिस्टम को ट्रिगर करता है. सो दिस इज व्हाट वी रिकमेंड. एंड सेकेंडली, इफ वी गिव ऑन द क्लिनिकल कंडीशन, एक क्लिनिकल कंडीशन को हमने अगर कोल्ड दिया है और कोल्ड के बाद उसको ज्यादा एग्रेवेशन हो गया है, तकलीफ बढ़ गया, स्टॉप कोल्ड एंड देन वी मूव टू हॉट. सो इस तरह से हमको पेशेंट टू पेशेंट वी हैव टू वेरी द अप्रोच. बट अल्टरनेट हिप बाथ्स इज अ गुड ऑप्शन फॉर every condition which is related to the lower part of the body. Spinal baths. Now what are spinal baths? तो एक टब होता है, जैसे टब बाथ लेते हैं ना, तो उसमें जो बाथ टब होता है वैसे बाथ टब होता है बड़ा सा. जिसमें आपके नेक को थोड़ा सा सपोर्ट दिया रहता है कि आपका नेक ऊपर की तरफ आ सके, और पानी जो होता है वो नीचे भर देते। और यू डिप योर स्पाइन इनटू द वाटर, तो आपका पूरा स्पाइन जो होता है सर्वाइकल से लेकर सैक्रम तक, पूरा कंप्लीटली कॉसिक्स, सैक्रम कॉसिक्स तक, ये पूरा पार्ट जो होता है इट इज अंडर द वाटर, सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एज स्पाइनल बाथ. Now spinal bath is given again for 10 to 30 minutes. It can be cold, neutral and hot. The indications are there. You can see it on the screen. Cold कभी देते हैं in case of hypertension and fatigue. थकान बहुत ज्यादा लगती है और ब्लड प्रेशर ज्यादा है, ऐसे कंडीशन में कोल्ड दे सकते हैं. नर्वस डिसऑर्डर्स, एनी कंडीशन विच इज रिलेटेड टू दी नर्वस सिस्टम. नर्वस सिस्टम से बहुत बार क्या होता है, फिजिकल वीकनेस नहीं होती, सिर्फ ब्रेन फैग होता है, काम कर करके ब्रेन थक गया होता है. सो इन सच कंडीशन you can use cold fermentation. Then there is neutral. Neutral is used in the problems of the vertebral column. So if there are any problems related to vertebral column, you can use neutral bath. Neutral bath is effective in insomnia. If the patient is suffering from lack of sleep, is unable to sleep, in such conditions also neutral baths will help. Again repeat, this is not a standalone treatment. Insomnia, problems of vertebral column, hypertension, nervous disorder, these are all conditions which may have an advanced pathology. So you should consult a doctor, start a treatment, and along with that treatment, if you do this, this will give you speedy recovery. Then hot fermentation. Now hot fermentation is spondylitis, backache and sciatica. So in such conditions, you can use hot fermentation. Now there are two more things which can be done. This is a very large topic. This is a huge topic. So I'm trying to cover the important things of it. Full wet sheet packs. Now what is full wet sheet packs? तो आदमी को हम क्या करते हैं, पेशेंट को सुलाते हैं, उसको पूरी तरह से वेट कपड़ों से उसको व्रैप करते हैं. वेट कपड़े से व्रैप करने के बाद में हम उसके ऊपर ड्राई ब्लैंकेट डाल देते. ड्राई ब्लैंकेट डालने के बाद में व्हाट वी डू इज, हम उसका जो पैर होता है ना, वो पैर को कवर नहीं करते, पैर लेग्स आर लेफ्ट एंड अप टू द नेक वी कवर, ऊपर के पार्ट को छोड़ देते हैं. देन we keep a Turkish towel on the below the chin, similarly on the leg. The blanket ends should be coming down the table. It should come below the table and it should cover the patient completely so that no air passes through it. This is called as full wet sheet pack. While doing this, we should constantly see the temperature of the head and the temperature of the feet. It should not get cold. अगर बहुत ज्यादा ठंडा हो जाता है सर या बहुत ज्यादा ठंडा हो जाता है पैर, तो we should stop it. Similarly, if it gets more hot, then also we should immediately stop this pack. The patient is given water, cold water or hot water constantly to drink during the phase. This is done for 30 minutes. This is called as full wet sheet pack. Now this is useful in insomnia. नींद नहीं आती है तो हम यूज कर सकते हैं. Epileptic fever, it is a typo error. It is used in patients suffering from epilepsy and also in cases of high grade fever. Fever जब subside नहीं हो रहा है, high grade fever है infection के वजह से, in that also we can use it. Steam bath. Now steam bath is very effective. It is to be given for 10 to 20 minutes. Now, what does steam bath do? Steam bath activates our sweat glands and thus the excretion increases. Now, one thing which I have found it is very effective in kidney disorders. It is also effective in skin disorders. There are many disorders it is effective, but it has a magical effect in the kidney disorders. If you regularly take steam bath, what happens is the excretions through the sweat gland increases, the kidney gets rest so that it gets recovered from the disease. So steam baths are also an important part in the therapeutic effect of water. Now there are few things which I am going to tell you, which I have not taken in this topic uh, because of the lack of time. First is that there is Epsom bath. what is Epsom bath? तो बकेट जो टब होता है, टब बाथ, उसको टब बाथ में पानी भर देते हैं, एंड देन वी पुट खड़े मीट म्हणतात, खड़े मीट, that is 2 kgs or 4 kgs of Epsom salt is there, and then what patient gets, takes that bath for 20 to 25 minutes. Now this is important effect, and it has great beneficial effect on lumbago, rheumatism, diabetes, neuritis. Neuritis is inflammation of the nerves. Kidney disorders, if the uric acid is increased, this helps. Skin affections, it helps. So it is Epsom bath. Now, what are the precautions to be taken? The temperature should be monitored constantly. Temperature ज़्यादा भी नहीं होने देना है, कम भी नहीं होने देना है, for the beneficial effects. Now, the abdomen should be completely empty. तो दो टाइप के बात है जो हमने अभी आपको बताए हैं. देवर बाथ्स ऑफ पार्ट, हिप बात है, एक इमर्शन बात करके भी होता है, विच वी कुड नॉट कंप्लीट, इट इज अ वेरी बिग टॉपिक. तो इमर्शन बात मतलब पूरा जो इप्सन बात है, इट इज अ टाइप ऑफ इमर्शन बात. तो इमर्शन बात के लिए हम लोगों को 3 घंटे तक का फास्टिंग होना चाहिए, और बाकी के जो हिप बात है या फुट बात है, इन सब के लिए देयर शुड बी 2 hours ऑफ फास्टिंग. पेट आपका खाली होना चाहिए. No bath should be taken during pregnancy. No bath should be taken during menstruation. अपने अपने से नहीं लेना है. During pregnancy, first 3 months, as per the advice of a physician, you can take for first 3 months. उसमें भी इमर्शन बात नहीं लेना है, जिसमें पूरा बॉडी हम इमर्स करते हैं, वो वाला नहीं लेना है. हिप बाथ्स वगैरह या फुट बाथ वगैरह ले सकते हैं 3 months, but it should be done by taking the advice of a physician. Now, this is all about the therapeutic effects of water. If you have any doubts, you can, because now we have very less time left for sorting out the doubts. So if you have any doubts, you can, we have a group on WhatsApp. You can just message your doubt on the group or personally, and your queries will be addressed personally. The answer will be given to you. Second is the two lectures are still remaining. This is the 2 lectures will be dedicated to diet. So the first lecture will be on the natural diet which we should take, and there are various aspects. Common queries होते हैं कि obesity के लिए हमको क्या करना है, weight gain के लिए हमको क्या करना है, डायबिटीज के लिए हमको क्या करना है, हाइपरटेंशन के लिए हमको क्या करना है. तो ये जो 4 चीजें हैं जो रेगुलर प्रैक्टिस में आ रही है, and you can see that lot of patient need this. So ये 4 चीजों को एड्रेस करेंगे नॉर्मल डाइट में. डायटिशियन एंड physician Dr. Prajakta will be taking the lecture on this, and the last lecture will be on the alkaline diet. So डाइट को अल्कलाइन रखने से हमको बहुत फायदे होते हैं हेल्थ में, तो उसको अल्कलाइन कैसे रखना है, तो लास्ट लेक्चर विल बी ऑन दी अल्कलाइन डाइट. We believe that now what we eat is very important. If we eat mindfully, if we exercise regularly, and if we meditate regularly, we can maintain our health and we can get rid of all the diseases we are suffering from. So the last 2 lectures will be exclusively on diet, and the 4 things which we told will be given more importance: weight gain, weight loss, hypertension, and diabetes. This will be given more importance because we have less time. The next series which we will do, we will take a particular disease and then the diet for that. So it will be a 1-day seminar. For example, if you are speaking of kidney disorders, then we will speak of the diet only for the kidney disorders, and that will be a 1-day seminar which will be for 30 minutes. And this we will be doing later on. But now the 2 lectures which are left will be on the diet. normal diet, which will contain the which will be focused on the four type of things, that is weight gain, weight loss, uh, then the hypertension and diabetes, and the last will be alkaline diet, which will help you to reverse any kind of disease you are suffering from. So we end the lecture for today. Thank you very much for attending this lecture. We will meet next Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you.